gentleman that is here. Welcome. Welcome. David didn't come? Is this going to come later? Okay. Okay. So, IAAA, like I mentioned, is the acronym we like to go by. This is our website, and in February is when we got registered with IRS as a 501c3 organization. We have been doing some ad hoc efforts for the last 2 years or so, and we got the process to register as a non-profit going in July last year. But end of last year is when we applied for 501c3, and February is when we got it. This picture, thanks to Kaushik ji, is from our website. It shows our 4 pillars: engage, learn, celebrate, and serve. You know, the broader community here in Greater Austin. But to give you a feel for our specific objectives, let me show you. Okay, so since the content on the previous slide was a bit hard to read, yeah, so hopefully you've eaten samosas before, right, Jim? And then, so okay, let's get one for Sue as well. Yeah, you just dip it in the chutney and then enjoy it. It's going to be a little bit spicy, right?
It's not.
Meena is saying it's all right. Okay, so our 4 key objectives. The first one, bring the community together through patriotic and cultural events. This is a good example, right? This is our foray into doing something for the American part of our Indian American, identity. And then you'll see some other examples of other patriotic and cultural events we have done. Educate the general public about Indian culture, history, and contemporary issues, right? So what happens there in India clearly affects the community here. So you want to make sure the facts are shared, not some distorted version. Perform community service clearly is up there, and facilitate multi-ethnic efforts. And by multi-ethnic efforts, we mean, having the Indian American community work with, let's say, the the African American community, or let's say the Hispanic community, or let's say the Israeli community, right? So essentially, work with our sister communities. And then the 4th one is get engaged in issues important to the Indian American community. It could be, how do we make sure that the curriculum in our schools and colleges reflects, actual accurate information about India and our culture, because currently it's quite distorted. And so if you look at these 4, clearly, it's quite a mouthful, but essentially we are trying to focus on bringing people together. Consistent with the Indian ethos that is described by the Sanskrit term of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the whole world is one family. Okay? And so with that, let's look at some examples quickly. So I've color-coded it. These are the David Letterman top 10. Just kidding, I think. So if you look at the ones in orange, those are sort of the patriotic events we have done so far. You will see Independence Day events celebrated for the last 3 years. Republic Day event was done virtually because of the pandemic. The ones in blue are proclamations that we got, our community got. So you can see number 2 is Austin City's Council proclamation declaring October 2021 as the Hindu Heritage Month. And then if you look at the other blue ones, you'll see Cedar Park City Council proclamation for Diwali for the last 3 years in a row. Right? So we have achieved a hat trick, and that again, thanks to the mayor and council members like Kevin Harris, that we have been able to have that privilege with those proclamations. If you look at the bolded blue, this is the celebration we did, which was in a very different format. Normally we would do it at a regular venue, Jewish Community Center or AARC. But here, the Cedar Park Public Library approached us and said, hey, given there is a substantial presence of the Indian American community, would you be interested in partnering with us, for celebrating Diwali? And although the venue is small, the community hall can accommodate only 100. We were able to have a fairly impactful event. The kids and everybody else enjoyed. The chief of Cedar Park Police Department, Mike Harmon, was there, and then the library director was there, and they shook their legs. They got up and danced to Bhangra, we'll share the videos, with you. But that went well. And then the one in green is more in the historical space, where we had Professor Sachi Dastidar from State University of New York come and do a presentation. He talked about what happened in Bengal with the Hindu Holocaust before 1971 and after that. So essentially, a fairly decent set of events over the last 2+ years. And again, this was possible thanks to this set of members, the leadership team here, as well as some of our affiliates. So I'm just going to quickly introduce you to our team, the leadership team. On the left is Laura Chapman, a big lover of India, big lover of our culture. She's not here because she's taking care of a 2-month-old baby. Okay. Otherwise, she's fairly gung-ho with events like this. Dushyant Reddy ji is here. He's our secretary and board director. Dushyant Reddy ji, could you please stand up and please stay standing. And then we have Kaushik Sivakumar ji, board director. He's at the back. Please stay standing. And then Venkat Chandrasekaran ji, he's taking care of video shooting. And then, so that's us taking care of IAAA. But based on the objectives you saw, clearly you can see that it takes a village to achieve those kinds of things, let alone even just one objective. So when we celebrated the Independence Day in August, we had reached out to Congressman Michael McCall's office to see if he could come, but he couldn't make it. But instead he sent us this certificate of special congressional recognition to IAAA, and you can see, the content is quite uplifting for us as a community. Right? He talked about, and the fact was, last year was when India completed 75 years of its independence. So it was like a diamond jubilee kind of celebration. And so this was the 76th year. So it's it's still being celebrated in India. It's called Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We celebrate some celebrity's birthday for a month, year. India's celebrating 75 years of independence for 2 to 3 years. So, and that probably is going to go for quite some time. So anyway, so this was the occasion, and he says, this momentous occasion not only marks a significant milestone in India's history, but also represents the resilience of the Indian American community, whose contributions have enriched the fabric of our great nation. I wish continued success in all future endeavors. So clearly a recognition that the Indian American community is making some decent contributions. So that was really a good icing on our cake. So let's appreciate Congressman McCall's. And then, as I mentioned earlier, please do check out our website. It's pretty easy to remember, IAAA.us. .com, I guess, was taken, or it was quite expensive, but .us feels good to us. So, if you are interested in knowing more about IAAA, please look up that site. If you're interested in joining us, supporting us, that's an option. And plus, I'll leave some of my IAAA cards at the back. And so with that, I want to just quickly show, so one of my neighbors and friends, DJ Lewis, he's with First Citizen Bank. I had posted this on my Facebook page in our community saying, hey, do we have veterans in our community? So his wife raised a hand and she said, hey, my husband is not a veteran, but he would like to be associated with IAAA. And so, he offered sponsorship for our event. So he's a vice president and commercial banker for First Citizen Bank. He's worked for 25 years over there. He specializes in helping business owners finance real estate, equipment, and working capital. So my recommendation is please keep him in mind for your banking needs. And clearly, a big thanks to him for his sponsorship, because that's going to help us cover most of the event expenses. So let's give him a big applause. Okay, so now we're going to switch to the